Ladies and gentlemen, Kate here. Welcome to the daily update. Hope you guys had a good day trading today. Market is down 0.7% there on the S&P. Nasdaq down 1.5%. Semiconductor got hit today, 2.5% negative. Dow printing grain, but pretty much flat there. Russell 2000 also got hit, 2.3% negative. Transport, banks, energy, these guys are down a little bit. Biotech also got hit, 2% negative. Healthcare is green slightly there today. Home builders and utilities and emerging market held up better. Retail down 1.7%. Bitcoin got hammered today, 8% negative. Gold, silver, miners, they got hammered today as well. Dollar pretty much flat. Oil down a little, down about 2.7% or so. Treasury bond half a percentage positive. VIX popped 8%. Let's see what the S&P 500 ETF. Spider. 65-minute chart here. So this is where we closed yesterday. And this is where we opened up today. So we actually saw a gap down. And so what happened was when that gap down occurred this morning, you see that upper wick right here. So bulls tried their best to fill the majority of that gap, that down gap that opened up this morning. However, they failed to fill the entirety of that gap. And again, if you've been following me, my videos this year, you know I track gaps extensively. And so when the gap doesn't get fully filled, in this case, this is a down gap. That's going to favor the bears. And in this case, this is going to be a smaller gap. So in the micro term, so you can see first hour, second hour, third hour, and the fourth hour, not able to get above that gap, down gap that was opened up. And finally, short term, micro term buyers gave in. And the bears rushed in. Fifth hour and the sixth hour here came down to the 466.23. And that's the level we talked about yesterday, right? That's the prior resistance, right? Right there. And this acted as support a couple days ago. You can see that long lower wick. Got right back up, went up there, came back down, retesting that vicinity today at 466.23. So going into tomorrow, obviously, bulls need, if bulls want to, get this momentum, we're talking micro term momentum, in the micro term shifted, obviously bulls need to get up here and fill this gap as quickly as possible. As long as this gap remains open in the micro term, bears going to try to bring it down to about 464 and probably retest that short-term moving average as well. You can see that short-term moving average acting as a resistance. This entire month of, entire month of November, right? That's what we got, that kind of hecticness in November price action, is because the short-term moving average was no longer supporting the buyers, it was supporting the bears. Hence, it was acting as resistance. Well, when bulls got up with that gap up, there's a good chance where this support or prior resistance, that short-term moving average, is now acting as support. And this short-term moving average finally, bulls gonna want to tame that short-term moving average to support the buyers. And with that, bears might want to bring that price down. If we don't see a support here, that current pivot, we don't see any kind of a bounce tomorrow, any kind of reversal tomorrow, first 2 hours, and get up and fill this gap. If not, bulls going to come down here, bring it down, and we're going to see 465, which is the short-term moving average, which is coinciding in that vicinity, 464.40, which is that gap up area. And again, this gap is a big gap, right? You can see that sheer size of this gap versus this tiny gap, right? So right now in the micro term, this tiny gap is gonna favor because of the tiny gap in the micro term, there could be some more pressure coming in unless we see a reversal right away tomorrow morning, first 2 hours. But we're dealing with this big gap. That's the gap, that up gap that bulls have placed there. So that's going to favor the bulls. So going into short term and the midterm, we want to give benefit of the doubt to the buyers. And we want to look at 464.40 and 465.10 as potential support going into tomorrow. Let's check out the oscillator and see if we can extract any more information. So you can see that oscillators continue to curl down. So actually, bulls are materializing it, bears are materializing with that, we did hit that overbought sentiment. Instead of kind of keep pushing that sentiment momentum to the upside with that gap down and the gap that wasn't filled, I think bears are taking advantage of that micro-term, micro-term bearish sentiment that we have. And with that, that oscillator's curling down currently. And then a lot of times, when you see bulls bring up the oscillator all the way to the top of it, like we've seen in here, right? So you can see that last time when we saw something like that, oscillators could potentially pull back, right? In certain cases. Obviously, bears want to bring it down. Bears don't want to deal with none of these premature crosses back up, because then bulls gonna bring it all the way up. As long as the price is above my short-term moving average, that's what I'm saying is I want to give benefit of the doubt to the buyers. That's why you see that curling down, advancing to the, not advancing, but deteriorating to the downside, that oscillator. If this thing gets right back up, and this trend will continue. So obviously bears want to kind of kill that momentum, but right now with this gap up, short-term moving average rising, there's pivot at 466, 464. I think it's going to favor the buyers going into the next couple days. But in the micro term, tomorrow, first 2 hours, how this market plays out, that's going to set the tone for the, towards the, rest of the day tomorrow. You can always follow me at 2K Kim on Twitter and stock tweets. I tweet things out usually in midday, give you guys an update on the price action and the oscillator. I'm gonna come back for you. We'll reassess the situation. Enjoy your evening and good luck trading tomorrow.